slides going. Hopefully if it works. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. To start with, I want to thank you first to Dennis, who is my team member, who really asked me to...
I messed up.
Yeah, okay.
I messed up. I'm sorry, you guys.
No worries. That's okay.
I was so busy talking, I messed up and didn't show what I had to show real quick before we started, which was this. You'll understand the context in a second. And so we're going to look. This is about. We'll do about 2 minutes of this, and maybe. Oh, the wrong one. My volume. Man, I'm failing miserably here.
While several runners completed 3 of the 4, Satpal was the only one to get all 4 done. Pretty cool to have that many 100Ks all within the same general area, all with... Instead suggests running ads or paying for bonus content.
Nominations. I'd like to nominate Claire Gallagher for their races, and understanding that they're Megan Arbogast. Megan. Thanks everybody, and back to you, Jim.
Ever heard of the NorCal 100K Slam? Me neither. Until this week, when Satpal Dalal completed the Ruth Anderson 100K, Canyons 100K, Miwok 100K, and Quicksilver 100K, all on successive weekends. While several runners completed 3 of the 4, Satpal was the only one to get all 4 done. Pretty cool to have that many 100Ks all within the same general area, all within 4 weeks. Kudos to you, sir. Hoka.
Okay. This one, and hopefully we have enough time, you must see this. So here we go.
If I could describe it, it would be straight up and down mountains. No switchbacks.
I want to push myself. I want to see what I'm made of, and the only way to figure that out is to do events like this.
We wanted to make something that was as hard as possible, and we wanted to run people from Vogel State Park to Amicaloa Falls State Park and just do the hardest way possible. Because we have some really beautiful yet nasty trails out here, and there's nothing like them anywhere in the world.
For those of us that do this a lot, we really enjoy being out in remote areas by ourselves and getting that quiet time and that peace in the woods.
I reach out and I have a lot of one-on-one time with God. I don't know, something about that experience just can't get anywhere else.
This is being completely disconnected. You can't be connected to anything other than what's going on in your body and in your mind.
The stairs, oh my goodness, there was like a set of them, then another set, and just kept going.
The amount of concentration of elevation gain for that distance was just, it was incredible.
I mean, it's probably one of the hardest races in the South, or even, the country, really. A race this tough, the finish isn't guaranteed.
That should scare you enough. Let me get back to our other slide deck here, hopefully. So that's what I was supposed to show you right after I introduced it. My slides now for you. It's not this one. Second, Technical difficulties. I apologize, my friend. This one. This is good. Okay. No, it just keeps cycling through. Now softball, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. Yeah, okay, where we left last time, I want to thank you, Dennis, because he actually talked to me about a month back that there's a AM talk happens over here, and if I can talk over here. And thank you, Dennis. And then Paul, he's been working with me from last 3 weeks, and as busy he is, I see him working so hard. He's spending a lot of time with me and getting me ready, as our dear speaker told me. So thank you, Paul. So yeah, okay, again, I want to talk to a few things about my life and how do I live my life these days, and what is about, how I'm passionate about, and how the couple of the videos that Paul just displayed, how they related to my life. So I take you back in around 2005-06 time frame. So I was working across the street in SanDisk, now they call it Western Digital Company. And every Friday, my then manager, Susan Cannon, now she lives in the Santa Cruz Mountains, she retired. She always asks me, or on the entire team, say, hey, what's the weekend plan? And I'm the only one who sometimes just not speak, because our plan is to go home, as Paul was saying, eat a lot of samosas, and then that's it. So, and come Monday, again, say, how was the weekend? So everybody has the weekend, like my American friend, they say, oh, they went fishing, they're doing barbecue, they're doing this, and again, I'm the only one who just sit down and try my best to hide behind them so that she will not ask me. So, because I again need to tell him that, okay, we prepared samosas and we eat samosas. Then another thing happened during the same point of time, that in America, you know, in India, you hardly go to a doctor until unless you have emergencies. Otherwise, you don't go there. If you try to go there, say, why are you going to a doctor? But here I came to know that, you know, you buy a health insurance and you're supposed to go yearly physical exam. So one of my friend just say, hey, you should do it. And I end up going there. Everything was good, but on every report, my doctor say, same thing, 2 words, exercise more, exercise more, exercise more. I could not relate why she was saying exercise more. But I made some research that why she was saying exercise more, and I also queried her, and she says it's okay because exercise keep you healthy, and now you're still young, but after some point of time when you hit your 40s and early 40s, and then these diseases of different kind would going to creep in. So it's better you start exercising now. So that said, I start finding some out sports, like we from India again, the first passion is about playing the cricket. So there is a lot of cricket teams in the Bay Area now. If some of you know, like there's a big league of cricket going on, like there's like 100 of the teams over there. So I played cricket for a couple of years, but whenever I go play cricket, sometime they just play for like 4 hours, but there are about 20 players, 22 players, 11 each side, and sometimes you have to stand on the boundary to wait, like ball will come to you. And I just stand there and go back home, and my wife asks why you are frustrated. You should be, because there's no there on the ground, more terrible. And I said, no, a single ball come to me, so I just stand on the boundary and come back home. So, and then again, so I stopped playing cricket. Then I found new passion like soccer. We build a soccer team, and in my neighborhood, and we go play against soccer on weekends. And it worked for about 6-7 months, when all the mid-age people like me come and they just pass the ball like slow here and there. Then in Cupertino, there's a Kennedy Middle School. So the people start inviting the young players. And then it was eye-opener. Now you don't get the ball again. They make you like dance around you and you just come back only limping because now say soccer is a contact game and you just touch and you're down. And so much embarrassment. So again I told my wife, I'm done, I'm not going to go soccer and anything like that. So again, coming back, like when I talking about my earlier manager, Susan Cannon. So in the same time frame, we bought a small place in Cupertino, and one weekend, Monday she asked, I raised my hand, said, I'm going to tell you what I did on last weekend. We were moving in Cupertino, and she told, where in Cupertino? I told it's like in the foothill and the Stevens Creek, and she said, wow, that's the place you should be because this is where me and my husband runs in every evening. And I say, okay. And she told me there is an open space, Rancho San Antonio open space over there. It took me 6 months to find that place, first of all. Yeah, I Googled around and I could not find Rancho. But when I found it was just behind my house. It's like, you throw the stone, I'm there. It's like just beautiful place. But then again, when me and my wife went there, we saw like this vertical all like up. You look like this, the trails go up. So then we tried our best to find the trails which go downhill or just like so, and we come back. And there were signs of everywhere, mountain lion territories, rattlesnakes are here. And me and my wife say, okay, just stay away from these places. So we start going a little bit over there. And we start enjoying our little bit company because we found this place, and then every weekend whatever we want to discuss and shout on each other. We found that's a great place because people don't listen. You know, your neighbor will not call police or something when you're hiding, right? So we start enjoying a bit over there. We start going. Another thing happened was I have another friend, Oscar So, at my work. He also lived in Cupertino, and we became friends, and he told me he wanted to do some running. And in Gienza College, he took me over there, and we start in evenings, just walk a little bit over there, like one on the track, we just walk a little bit. And I start finding people over there, they like run for multiple hours. Sometimes we go when people are running, and then we leave over there after 1 hour, they're still running around the track. So we start increasing a little bit time on the track, and some of the people told that they run marathons. And I say, how come they run the marathons? And then I researched a bit again and found this marathon is 26 miles and there is half marathon distance which is 13 miles. So in 2018 August, I still remember, I blindly just registered for a half marathon, which was one of the easiest in Shoreline Park. And I end up running that. I run that, and by mile 6, 7, I know what going on in my body. I had the cramps from my toe to my, like here on the toe, because, and I was crying like, like hell. I don't know how these people are running, and they're still running. People passing me, and and smiling, say, good job, good job. I say, don't say this to me, because, and I was really crying, but somehow I crossed the finish line, and a person come behind to me, and he say, hey, you are running a great race. I say, are you sure? You are running a great race? And I say, no, I was behind you entire distance, and you are running very consistent pace, and I keep running with a reference, you as a reference. And I said, wow, this is great. Then I was like dizzy, and I sit down on the ground, and I don't know where I'm, like, it's really spinning. But that person stayed with me, and then later he gave me a hand to stand up. And there I found, like, I felt amazing though, that people are appreciating you, and I'm already something doing good. In other sports like cricket, soccer, or like we play a little bit tennis also that I miss with my wife. And there you had to defeat someone to win. You had to make other person lose first, then you win. You have to step over kind of stuff. So that doesn't match in my personality also. But there in the running, a person come to me and say, hey, he was appreciating that I finished a race. So I felt so good about that this running community is different. They make people to win. They are happy when other people win, other people finish the races. And even you not that good as they still make you feel like you are the top of the world. So I came back and I felt amazing, although I was, for 3 days, I was almost like a little baby. I was crawling on the ground because the cramps is like bad. So anyway, me and my wife in next 1 week study all kind of marathon happening in Bay Area in next 1 week, and we still have our like a booklet where we made the date and which date it's happened, and we start running. Same time frame in December 2008, I was with a dentist, and the dentist asked me, hey, what are you going to do on weekend? I say, oh, I go run a bit. And she said, where you go run? I just say, I go in the Dianza College and make round over here. And she said, okay. And then when she gave me next appointment, she put another yellow sticker over there, and she come over there next Saturday. She put the time, and I reached there. So it was Las Gatos High School, and I still remember I went there in December 2008, and I found my dentist is the running coach over there. And she said, welcome. And so that the running club is San Jose Fit Running Club. I joined that in 2008. I'm still the member of that running club, and this is one of the most wonderful, life-changing thing that ever happened to me, that someone gave me a gift of lifetime. And this again another thing I found in running community is they help you. So without knowing me, my dentist just made me to come over there, and she was running coach. Okay, so now I try to stay with them, like when she was a female, so I always have that kind of 1% ego in me that, okay, how come a female can be my coach? And I try to outrun her. And she keep telling me, Satpal, just stay back, stay back. And I always start on the front, and I try to make her like run down, get her tired. But as the training increased from like 8 mile, 10 mile, 15 mile, like that, I start finding she can just run like 9 minutes per mile consistently for 21 mile, and by 12, 13 mile I start slowly. Firstly I'm ahead, then I'm just behind her, then another and another, and then she's back after finishing her training run, then when I'm still have 3 miles back. So I learned from there also that, you know, we need to listen people who trying to suggest us something, so it's good that we should learn. So from there, from 2008 to next 3-4 years, it was wonderful journey. We go run together, and I run almost every marathon in Bay Area, and I have wonderful community at the disposal. I made a lot of friends there. So what I found from that till 2012 is, in those 4 years, is find a passion out of the work, and try different things, because I tried 3-4 different, even I tried swimming also. We were short of time, so I don't want to go into those details, and as I tried tennis also, so I tried like cricket, soccer, and the tennis, and you need more people, so somehow they did not fit me, but I end up finding running that fits everything, and also running fits every bill of my current lifestyle, because, you know, running you just need 3 things. You need some shoes, you need a short, and just t-shirt. This optional. You can just go and just run. You can run in the lunchtime. You can run from here to home in evening, or in morning, or in raining, or in the night. So there's no restriction. And if your spouse or your girlfriend argue with you, then also you go run. Right? That's the best thing. Slowly, initially my wife resisted me when these things start happening, that when we fight, then when I go run, and she tell me, oh, I know where you're going to go now, you're going to go running. But slowly she learned, and now she pushes me. Whenever we start even arguing a little bit, she say, okay, here are your shoes and go. Because when I come back after 1 hour, I'm different mood. People know who runs or who play the sports. That sports generates many different hormones in the body, and one of the hormone is endorphin. Endorphin is actually that is mask the pain and generate the happiness. and the hormones only body generate when it's under kind of stress, and it's unbearable stress, and like when girls have the babies and all those things, and that's why they can bear with that. And these sports also generate that. So that's why sometimes also all the people who do these extreme sports, you see them always happy, and we take them, maybe he's very happy because he is maybe he's already rich or something, but no reason they will be happy because these chemicals, natural hormone gets generated in your body. So yeah, the one thing, those 4 years, 2008 to 12, what I found is find your passion out of the work where you can really go out and have fun in your life. So then what? In 2012, again I go with San Jose Fit year around, and we most of the time run on the Las Gatos Creek Trail, which is about 15 miles from here. And then there are different speed group. I keep changing the groups. And during one training, one training on Saturday, we were around miles 15, 16, I still remember. And there was my coach. I changed the coach. This was Jerry, who's now moved to Indiana. He was working for Apple and he retired early. And he and a few other my American friends were talking, something trail run, this run, that run, and I just silently running. And then while they were talking, something happened. One gentleman on my left side. Now I learned how to stay back because I know where my place is. So one gentleman say, "Hey, who want to run the Western State?" And I still remember I saying yes. Another why I say yes immediately was when I start running, I also reading a couple of books, and I found that human mind have first 5 seconds to do the honest opinion. Honest opinion come in your mind first 5 seconds. If you not utter it, if you not make that decision, then mind do the reverse. Mind would think that we are agitating, and he would try to not to release that decision out of you. It will start saying to you, don't do this because you agitated first, is not good for you. So I was practicing that. So I saying, oh yeah, I want that. And then say, okay, fine. I came back home. I Googled what is Western State. I found this is one of the monster race, this 100-mile race. And that started Lake Tahoe, and it goes all the way through the snow mountains, and then suddenly it goes down to canyons where the temperature suddenly changes from 35, 40 to 100 degrees, and you cross 10 of streams and go through the American River. You have to cross that in the night, and it finishes in Auburn. It's 100-mile race, and it's been the first time ever in the world that a human ran this 100-mile race in 1973. And I read this little bit history that was actually a horse race. And that year, that horse of one person broken, and he decided to run it. Yeah, this is the real story. And that guy finished that before any other horse in 24 hours. So since then, they created this, and this is the monster race, and it's very short after race. So okay, and now what happens is, you cannot just go run this race because they only allow 270 runners, because the year when they start running it, the US Forest Department only used to allow the 270 participants. So, and that culture is still there. So they only allow 270 today also. So you cannot just go and run that race. Website says here is the list of about 50 other races. You need to go and run one of these qualifying race, and then come and apply. So very soon after making research, I found it's easier to get admission in Stanford University than really get into this race, finishing with a par. And it's truth. It's still, I had not run that race. It's 4 or 5 years now we've been trying. Every year I'm qualifying, I'm applying there, and I'm not getting into that because about 5,000 people apply every year, and you have less than 2-3% of getting into that race. So, but we try every year. So then what happened was we had we had to run these races which they list Western State, but those races are monster races again. They are all over the world, especially most of them are in US, And some of them, are in Lake Tahoe, some of them in San Francisco on the Mill Valley, some are in Arizona, different places. So we every year we go and run those races. In meantime, but while not getting into the races, we have to train about those races also. So I went back to the person who I wanted to ask who want to train for Western State, and I asked that day, now where do you practice? So he told me that he run in those same places, the Rancho San Antonio Mountain, where I just live over there. And when I go with my wife there, we worried about, I told you guys a little bit, like the little snake are there, mountain lions are there, and then I found, I have someone, I can stay behind and let the mountain lion eat him. And also the lesson learned earlier that you should be on the front of the leaders. You should, if you are not a leader, it's better to go footsteps. So I always run behind him, and I always make sure he's there in the rancho all the time. So I start going with him. I tried to befriend him, and he was a very good person, obviously. And then I found, when I go talk to him and start like going a little like small elevation gains, he would hike with me, and then downhill we try to run down. And then I found he running on those mountains for like 40 years. He knows every inch of the trail. He knows now if there are some trail where those trails were not, and what to eat, what not to eat. Like other runners, I had the issues, or what going to happen to my knees, or what going to happen this and that and everything. And he said, I'm still walking. I'm the 40 years been running, and he's still like he outrun me everywhere. So another myth, like people sometimes have like, what going to happen with my knees of too much running or less, is this all mindset. So since then we've been doing all these things. So out of these races I've been running. I believe I finished more than 100 of those races till now. Like we go in the mountains and finish those races. But out of these 100 races which I run, there were 2 races I could not finish. And so while doing all these very, very difficult things, I felt, we start increasing distance, like we create our own distance in the mountains, like we can run like 50 kilometers today on weekends, or the 50 mile today. And then also like we start celebrating our birthday running those many number of miles. So that made me to run from my 4th birthdays, that many number of miles on that day. And because Cisco give you happy birthday free day, so I have to go there and run that many miles. So from last 4 years, this year, about a month back, I turned 43, so he made me to run 43 miles. And then 42, 41, and 40, like 4 years. So since then we run like, we found local races also in mountain, like we go to 100 kilometer races, 100 mile races also. At one time, I end up getting to 125 mile race as well. So that's it, but we also start expanding a bit, we get confidence, right? We go a little bit in the life, and so I start finding in the mountains that, seek the failures. Try to find if you want to finish something. I do not remember those more than 100 races. I know that I finished those races, but I do not really savor those moments. I only remember those 2 or those races which I could not complete. I know that every moment, I know every start. When I started, I can speak for 15 hours for each of those races. So I start finding, it's good, we should try to fail ourselves. And we only know how we feel ourselves is that we go try them, make us uncomfortable. Whenever we are nervous, we have fear of something, go through the fear and go there. So I go very briefly for each of those races. So one was in last year in Santa Monica Mountain near LA. So 4 of my ultra runner mountain friends, 4 of us went over there in Santa Monica Mountain. They call it San O'Brien 100 kilometer race. And 4 people from different backgrounds, we went there. One was from the he's American Korean, and one was Russian American, one is like pure American over here born, and one was me. So we went there, we were on the start line, we were super confident about that race because we trained so much. And suddenly the first two, like American and my South Korean friend, disappeared, and they were fast, and I know they're going to finish. Me and my friend from Russia, we decided to stay together. I again befriended him because he was fast. I don't want to be alone in mountain again. In all these mountains in California, if you go 1 mile, there will be a sign, mountain lion territory. So I know I need someone with me. And he is strong, and I know I can just grab him if something comes over here. So that said, we were very confident about mile 50. When we run those miles, we usually run like in the segments, one quarter. So last quarter of this 100-kilometer race remaining, and we were 50 mile, and from there we know it's like downhill section. We talk a little bit, and we're talking so much, we enjoyed. We took a couple of pictures of the sunset, and it's becoming dark, and we're flying down. Some point of time, there was a T section, and we were so much in the talk, we took, instead of left run, we took a right run, and we ended up going somewhere in the mountain that God knows where we are. When I talked to Alex, his name is Alex, and I asked him, hey, Alex, looks like I'm feeling a little weird, this is not the way we should be going. And he would tell me, no, I know direction, because he told me that he's from Russia, and he would making the rockets in the Cold War time. And he knows all the direction, and he tell me also, see over here, this is the way the people in the mountains put these stones to make the direction. So I believed him, and I just followed him. So, but after 2-3 hours, we know we are lost, and then he says, Satpal, we are lost. I said, thank you very much. So we try to retrieve. It's dark in the night, like becoming 9, 10, 11, 12. And suddenly when you run these races, they have a checkpoint every 10 miles. There you can have water, and they check you out also that this runner had reached over here, because they don't want the people to just get unaccounted for. But now we are in the night, and we are out of everything. We had no water, we had no food left, nothing. And now we were downhill, and now 7-8 miles we have to go back. We try to retrieve back our steps in the middle of the night, but now it's deadly dark over there. If you are in the forest in the night and you turn off your lights, there's nothing, you have no existence over this dark, it's scary. So we sit down eventually on the highest mountain after try to go back, and we could not find anything. So that night we felt that today would be our last day of the life, seriously. So we sit down, and I talked to Alex, like, Alex, we're going to stay together. Again, fearing I maybe the second one to die, because I wanted to have the mountain lion eating first. He maybe feel like, and then he will let me go. Then we realized that, oh really, no, this can be scary. We can really die over here. So, and he was still smiling. I asked him, why are you still smiling? And he said, it's okay if I die today. And I said, why are you thinking that? He said, I already I live my life, that today is the last day of my life. And I say, how come? He said, in his theory, he need to do 3 things before he dies. That he need to raise a kid, and he's in good shape. Second, that he need a house for himself or for his wife who is spending time, and he also done that. And third, he need to plant a tree so we can give a gift back to the earth, who is giving us oxygen and everything. And I'm fine now, I'm enjoying my life. I already taken care of 3 things. And I said, wow, this is good. And then I look at me, I said, I don't want to die, I don't have this kind of peace here. Please, you die and let it go. So to go forward, later on, my 2 friends who finished the race, they alerted that no way they cannot come on the finish line, and ranger came in the night and we get rescued. But the lesson number 2, I came back home, and I took 2 days off from the Cisco and took my wife out, and we made a list of top 3 things in our life. And I talked to her very serious note that, okay, what if I die, maybe you will cry for 1 week until they put me in whatever. But after that, I don't want her curse me that, okay, what is this? It's a big mortgage, and then who's going to pay this, right? Entire life she would be cursing me. So for next 2-3 days, we spent time together, and we made a list of 3 things. That if one of us will die, we'll be happy after a week, saying, okay, he has lived the life and he's not left any burden on us. So since then, from last 1.5 years, I made sure I lived today could be my last day. So we thank people, we try to thank people for no reason. There is no reason to thanks. When you go and run in the mountains, mountain will crush your ego. If there is 1% in you, you just try there, you go 40 miles, by 35-40 miles, they wipe out your brain. How we manipulate ourselves. If I'm talking to you guys, I still have some sugar in my mind that I can manipulate to do the sugar coding. But after 40 miles, you have no sugar left in your brain and no electrolyte left in your brain. You will be a naked child back. And someday you want to do that you go on some volunteership or somewhere the ultra race is happening, you see how the people behave after 40 miles. You will be inside out like total naked person. So these things also simulate the life. We always try to, always we go after the success. One success is just we go up. But when you go mountain, you go like up, down. We always like to go into roller coaster ride. If a roller coaster just keep going up, what's the fun? Or going down, there's no fun. We always want to have this scary stuff go up and down. But what happens if it happens in the life? We cry when we lose the job or lose some money or lose something in our life. So when we do these things, we live like an entire life in mountains. When you run 100-kilometer race or 100-mile race, it's like living an entire life in 24 hours. You start like when the start line, you are excited, you are full of energy, like a kid. After like 20 miles or so, you're in a young age, you still like saying, oh, I can do it. After 40 miles, you are in the mid-age of crisis, say, what the heck I'm doing? I don't know, neither I'm a kid now. I have a couple of kids, what do I do? I don't know how to do it. Why I'm doing this one and this and that. So next 40 to like 70, 80 miles, you will be just cursing yourself. Why I'm not going to do it. And when you're the last 20 miles, you get your nirvana back when you are like, last, I want to go in jungle and like now do the worship and all this stuff. But these things is in the real life. There's no going back. When you live in the real life, there's no going back. You cannot realize. When you are dying, like 90% of the people, when I was studying some research, that 90% of people when they are on the deathbed, they remorse and they tell, whatever we have done is not what we wanted to do. But here, while running these ultra races, so in the real situation, there is less than 1% chance you will be alive tomorrow when they will just die cursing. But here, you have 99% chance you will be back in one piece and you can relive your life again. And whenever you doubts about yourself, you go run one more. So sometime to create this passion, whenever something happen to me at work or my personal life, or if I'm upset with myself or anything, first thing I do is that I put on my shoes. Sometimes I'm always on the running shoes. I leave everything, I out running. Sometime, and once after some time I come back, I already been saying sorry to the people. I name everybody and saying I'm sorry, ABC, XYG and everything, so virtually. Another thing is that this comes back to the basics. When you go in this mountain after 50, 60 miles, say you are out of the water. That night we were out of the water. So what I look for, if there is a person who come with a bottle of water and I is going to grab it, give me the water, and he say, give me $1 million, otherwise you die. So will not we exchange it? I exchange it right away because I want to live tomorrow. But here if you offer me water over here, I say, no, I'm fine, because I don't value it right now. So small thing in the life matters. Why can't we live just like animals who don't store anything? They appreciate, they just eat enough of the food and which is needed. What Paul was saying,
I need to pull the hook on.
Yeah, okay.
Rapid.
Yeah. So what Paul was saying that, I lost about more than 1 million of the calories since I've been running. It's like so many samosas, but it make me happy also, otherwise there will be elephant talking to you. But I also feel bad. I feel bad in the sense I've been eating a lot. Why have been eating first place that much? So control the eating and all. So okay, second thing, we just wrap up is that, live the life like today is your last day. So I go briefly, I need a couple of more minutes. So again, that was a last year story. And then this year, again, we wanted to re-qualify for the Western State 100-mile race. And then we again went back to that list of the races which we wanted to run. And this year, a couple of those people have created this 400-kilometer races which are back to back. They don't happen ever in the history of the running. And I end up registering all 4 of them. And then I registered again in the impulsive mode, but now you go train about those races. How am I going to pull, like every Saturday I'm going to pull those races. So to train, I wanted to break myself. And then again, quickly we find that what is the hardest race over there in the list is what the Georgia death race. This is the video you guys were watching. And I went up there and there was nothing. It's like really scary. Even the feeling was scary because in the middle of the jungle and you had no one over there. So that race I could only reach to the 50 miles. I was timed out over there because I just late by 5 minutes and they did not let me go. I pleaded them, but they did not let me go through. So they call it Georgia death race because they claim that no runner will finish this race, and they give you this railroad spike to you. This is a railroad spike. They tell you that you're going to die and you can nail yourself in your coffin. So they let me keep this one only. It's still like wrapped out because when you keep it in your backpack or something, it will hurt you. So I keep it with myself. But what it taught me to save those 5 minutes, I put limitless. I tried to go beyond. I wanted to fail. But when I come back, I saved those 5 minutes on each of my subsequent 400 Ks with back-to-back Saturdays, which one was in Lake Tahoe, one was in Mill Valley, another was in San Francisco, and fourth one was in Quicksilver Mountain over here. And by the time I realized, I finished 4 of them back-to-back. And so when I try to take chances and go beyond my comfort zone, I end up getting what I could not envision otherwise. So I found that when we go beyond our limits, when we're ready to fail, so-called success is just a little byproduct of we trying our comfort zone. Otherwise, we don't know how far our limits are. So yeah, there's also 3 things. Find a passion out of your job. Second, live the life like today is your last day. And third, try to fail yourself. Because so-called success will just be sitting next to you next day, and you will be happy. That's all I leave you. And I want to introduce you to one person I was talking who get into this trail run and who say let's train for the Western State is my friend Bill. Bill, can you come for 1 sec? He is 65 years old and I still cannot catch him in the mountains. So we run almost every morning in the mountains.
Is
so
this the trick to stay behind?
Yeah. And he is the dean of the Chiropractor College of Palmer over here. If you ever go to a chiropractor, I'm 99% sure he will be his student.
Yeah.
So, and our our project is to still run the Western State 100-mile race. And in meantime, to break ourselves, we are trying to break. You might have seen a picture over here. Is that someone was trying to break some tree over here. I don't know you noticed that or not. So we go in these mountains, and one time the ranger, there was a tree was fall down, and the ranger only trimmed some part, and then they left the biggest trunk over there, and they just make us a mark after 8 feet of it. So now we're trying to break that. So we try to break that trunk. And the idea is only to use the natural resources over there, not to take this kind of spike. And we, in that picture, we try to break that. So we decided that we're going to try to break it by next 1 year. Either tree will break us or we'll going to break. Okay, guys, thank you very much.
Any questions?
Okay, one question. How often do you change your shoes? Buy new
Yeah,
shoes?
about a month and month. Yeah.
Which brand? Nike? Which brand?
So these are Hoka 11 shoes. This is a new brand. We can Google it and
What is it called?
Hoka. H-O-K-A.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.